You are just joining us, then this is our next recording for our session. Um, right, padding out. Welcome. This is the next episode of The Messy Middle, 10 Minutes of No Fluff Goal with me, Jackie Handy, and
me, Helen Joy.
Together, we've been working in leadership development for many, many years. And so this short series, every Monday at 9:45, just for 10 minutes, will cover a little topic that leaders, middle managers, that anybody stuck in the messy middle in business typically come across. And over the last few weeks, we've been delivering sessions around feedback, challenging conversations. Oh, can't even think of the others. There's so many different things that we've looked at. But today, we're talking about self-evaluation and the importance of that for you as a manager. Now, we've both got a few tips to share, and I'm going to get straight into this. But if you're watching this live, then please do let us know. I'll open up the chat as well. So let us know if you're watching and what you're getting from it. And if you're watching on replay, then again, please comment, like, share with people in your network that you think could benefit from hearing this. Because, my friends, self-evaluation is one of the things that both Helen and I recognize is the thing that often gets overlooked. You're already busy people, and yet you don't really give yourself time to reflect upon what your last week, month, etc. has been like, and also then what's gone well and what you can do differently. And without doing that, it's almost like you're I guess following a trail that has no signposts, right? So how do you know if where you're going is the right way that you want to be going? So my first bit of advice, super, super simple, but so simple it gets overlooked, is build self-evaluation time into your schedule. Simply mark out, even if it's like half an hour a week. There's no best practice amount of self-evaluation time that you should be scheduling, but schedule some time and give yourself that space to actually do that work, and you will find it makes a huge difference. What do you think, Helen? Because I know you've got stuff to add on to this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so often overlooked. It's that time to stop and think about, what have I done this week? What have I achieved? Did I set out what I wanted to achieve? And I think that's my first kind of bit of advice, is just try and focus on specific things to start with. If it's not something you've done before, pick 2 or 3 questions that you're going to ask yourself at the end of every week, or maybe the start of every week, and just sit there. It might be something like, what gave me energy this week, or what drained me this week? Where were the points at which I felt at my best? Where were the points I felt at my worst? Or also things like, even just as simple as what went well or what didn't go so well. And just try not to just focus on the negative things, because that's a natural thing that we want to do. So we want to go back and go, oh, well, that was terrible. Well, actually, yeah, look at that. But look at what went well as well. And just pick 2 or 3 questions to sit down and really think about, as you say, at this, not necessarily the same time every week, but just in some specific time that you've put aside to do that. So important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great bit of advice, is to actually keep this process as simple as you can, especially if you've not really set aside this time before and you're starting this process, which we highly recommend you do. Keep it simple and give yourself the best opportunity of success in this self-evaluation time. And something I would add to this is, in with these 2 or 3 key questions that you're asking yourself, maybe seek out some feedback to help you as well. Because as you rightly say, Helen, we're typically on one side or the other. We either look at all the great things about ourselves, but we don't look at the flaws, or we pick out all the weaker areas and we don't look at our strengths. So maybe if you've got somebody around you, possibly one of your team members, possibly a peer, possibly a mentor, if you're lucky enough to have a mentor or a coach, get them to give you some feedback on what they observe as well. And you can weave that in to the responses that you're giving yourself, really based on that feedback as well. So yes, it is self-evaluation, so ultimately you're taking control of that for yourself. But if you've got sources of feedback that you can seek out as well, that will really help you create that balance that is so important in this task, really.
Yeah. And I think to add on to that as well is considering the context of situations as well. So whether it's the context of that feedback, or if you're looking at a particular situation and something that happened, think about the context that those things happen in. Because again, we too often just, if we're sitting there and thinking about ourselves, we think about ourselves in isolation, and actually we're always part of an environment. And especially, you know, if something didn't go so well, why was that? What was the situation that you were in, and what was the trigger point that meant that you went off in one direction rather than going off in one that on reflection you wish you'd maybe taken? So, and again with the feedback as well, you know, have you prepped people to give you that feedback so they're looking out for specific things, or is it that they are kind of giving you feedback after the fact as well? So it's kind of, have they thought about that feedback and given it to you thinking about your benefit, or thinking about it from their perspective as well? So everything has to be kind of thought about in the context that it's in, and in the context of the situation, and how you want to move forward as well.
Yeah.
That was a bit word salady, but you know what I mean.
No, but I think, you know, I think it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Is that, and actually it links really nicely to where we're going next week, folks, because we're talking about situational leadership, which is all about sort of leading in context, isn't it? So it's a little bit like that. And it's going to be a pre-record, everybody, next week. I'm going to be traveling and bits and pieces going on. So we've done a pre-record for you in relation to that one, but it will still be out 9:45 UK time on Monday morning. So don't miss that as well. And yeah, I really love that kind of looking at the evaluation in context. So, you know, and I think so often what we do leads to my final point as well, is that what we do is we're looking for perfection. And, you know, if you're looking for perfection in any part of your life, you're always going to remain disappointed, right? Because it just doesn't exist. Perfection doesn't exist. And boy, if we'd have said, you know, we're not doing these LinkedIn lives until we're perfect, pitch perfect in every way, we'd never have got started, would we? So my advice here to everybody is progress over perfection, right? So you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. So if you're going to think about, if actually, you see, tripping over tongue, tripping over teeth, got them in the wrong way around. If you want to be better in your role, if you want to be the best leader, people leader you can be, if you want to get yourself out of the messy middle and into a pathway of strategy and focus, then actually just start. Don't worry about it all being perfect, because boy, it's not going to be. But at least make a start, and then start moving with a plan, of course. So have a plan and then make that start taking those actions. You can review, refine, take feedback, adjust en route. But yeah, make some progress. Don't look for perfection.
Yeah, and on the back of that as well, it's that try really hard to stay objective. And it is really hard. So that's why you have to try really hard, because it is hard to be objective about yourself and about what you've done. Oh, bouncy there. About what you've done, and about situations that have arisen, and how hard we can be on ourselves when things haven't gone perfectly. But you know, everything is data. Everything is, and that was the biggest piece of advice that I think I ever took to heart, was when somebody went, you know what? Yeah, that was crap. It was awful. But you know what? You've got a baseline. You've got a point. You now know what doesn't work in that situation. So think about, okay, that didn't go so well. Why not? Take your, you know, and sometimes you might not be able to reflect on something that week. You might need to leave a bigger period of time before you can go back and say, right, I'm now ready to reflect on that situation, because I'm now not emotional about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can be objective about what happened, why it happened, and what I need to do to change it and to move forward and to grow from that situation as well.
Lovely. I think that wraps it up lovely. It's amazing how we can fill 10 minutes with these golden nuggets around these little subjects, and we are about at time. So, you know, hope you found this helpful. Just this 10 minutes of your investing your time has been helpful. If you want to reach out to either of us, Helen, where can people find you?
Yeah, just here on LinkedIn, DMs, or on this post, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Same for me. You can message me on LinkedIn or find me at jackiehandy.com. That is it for this week's Messy Middle. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and sharing. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye for now.